Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Corey's Garage, brought to you by Reese Motorsports, home of the Franken-7 project. So, in today's episode, a few little updates. I didn't get started till late. It was my off day, but I wasn't able to get started on the car till about 8:30, and it's now almost 3:30 in the morning. So, I've been out here pretty steady. I got my Megan short throw shifter in, as well as finally the bushings for the rear subframe showed up. So, just a little word of the wise, if you are ever in the market for a used FC chassis and you're going to restore it and modify it, in the hot rod world they call that resto mod, do yourself a favor and get one from the south, like Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, maybe Florida. Don't get one from up here because rust sucks. If you recall, one of the first few videos of the actual updated series where I'm actually working on the car instead of just talking about wanting to work on the car, I had the rear subframe out and went and had all the old bushings pressed out because when I was gonna change them or whatever, some of the bolts were rusted in there. So which I basically had to destroy the old bushings to get the old bolts out, which I'm glad I changed them. It was just a nightmare to change. It probably wouldn't be as bad down in Georgia or something if you wanted to change them, but up here that just made for a nightmare. I'll show you real quick on the rears. The dtss eliminators were the worst part, just because they're so big and thick and they have such a big bore to have to go in. And then the uppers weren't as bad. I'm using one of these old school just super manual like ball joint presses. It works. I don't like using it, but it works. Let me show you this real quick. So this is the rear control arm just kind of hanging down. So here's the dtss eliminator. That's the rear steer setup for the RX-7s. That was a freaking nightmare with that tool. It would probably be a nightmare regardless, but it was especially a nightmare for me just because, you know, the adapters that come with the tool, they don't all fit, so I just had to get creative with some sockets and stuff like that. But these are really, really nice. I was originally ordering a set of Part Shop Max, I think it's called, or Power by Max, I forget, of their dtss eliminators, and I was getting some of their bushings, but they either didn't have the upper or they didn't have the lower. I can't remember, but one of the sets they did not have, and I wanted to do the complete set just because I destroyed mine and they were rusted up anyway, so I had to get them out. So let's see if I can get another little angle of that one. I can never tell with, see, I'm using the front facing camera, so I really can't see that well when I'm showing you this stuff. But anyways, God, what a nightmare that was. Woo, that was a nightmare. But anyways, I got those changed out. That took the majority of tonight's time. But yeah, just do yourself a favor. Get you a car from the south where there won't be any rusted nuts and bolts. And everything slides out. And, oh, you'll thank yourself. But anyways, so I got my Megan Racing shifter in today. So that meant I got to install the LOJ, the rest of the adapter kit, which is basically just the shifter bracket. And then the Megan shifter, it was complete, but it showed up at like 7 o'clock from UPS, and when I opened it up, it looked like they had tore it open and tried to put it back in the wrapper, or it had sat on the shelf for a long time because the package was beat to hell. But it was all there, so I'll show you that next real quick. We'll just go around to the other side. I'm going to put my shop light in there so you can see it, hopefully. It doesn't slide down. All right, I'm actually pretty happy with how everything turned out. I had to play around a little bit with like seating position and where I wanted the handbrake. I got the handbrake installed. I had to make a little mounting bracket, and I'll just show you this real quick as I sitting here. But boom, looking like a freaking drift car, man. What you know about that, homeboy? So the again, that shifter. Or the shifter knob actually is not the one that I actually ordered, but this one showed up and I actually like it. It's kind of like a heavy ball, so with a short throw shifter, it just really makes it kind of feel more precise, if that makes sense. So I, of course I was playing around with throwing it through the gears and stuff, and I really, really like it. So I think it's going to be a nice piece. And then of course here's the ASD knockoff hydraulic handbrake. So, and I had a little some bracket from a Jeep bumper or something from when I worked at Fortec in Atlanta, which was the perfect length, and it was thick enough to where I could weld it to that center sheet metal. And I think it's like 3/16 thick or something. It's very thick. I had to grind a little paint off to, obviously get it to penetrate. But yeah, it turned out really nice. Got me some good leverage. I played around with putting it like kind of in the center over here and then down low and stuff, but I'm going to have the passenger seat in here, so I wanted to make sure that that wouldn't interfere with anyone sitting on the passenger side. But I think that turned out really, really nice. I like the shift knob. It's blue. It kind of matches the wheel. They're not the exact same blue, but close enough. So I think it's a really, really nice piece. I mean, it's just bam, bam. I mean, it's a heavy one right there. That's a big boy shifter. But yeah, I'm glad with the turnout. It was a lot of work. Not so much the shifter and the handbrake. I mean, it was a little bit. There was a lot of fabrication I had to do. I shouldn't say it was a lot. It was a lot for me because I don't have a freaking vise on my bench. I don't even have a workbench. I have some toolboxes and I have a concrete floor. But yeah, it mounted up pretty nice, and I painted it and all that good stuff. And yeah, so that was a pretty eventful evening, I guess. I got a little bit more of the wiring. Well, I've been reading up on the Granny Speed Shop, the people that the engine mount comes from. They actually have some really, really good write-ups on wiring and stuff for tying in the LS1 harness with the Mazda gauges and stuff like that. So the only thing I'm not going to be able to run is a speedometer. One, because the speedometer on this was a cable-driven type deal, and that's already gone. And I took the speed sensor out of this Z32 transmission and, capped it off a few videos ago. So, but I did get one of those fancy little GPS speedometers, so that'll be fun to see how that works. But yeah, this was a pretty eventful little thing. I found a few little differences in the wiring I'm going to have to change around. One is the coolant temp sensor. The thing I had plugged into it is not what it is, at least according to the wiring colors. So I'm going to have to, I guess, cut and extend that. And then also there's like a knock sensor wire and one other little thing I have to change. Oh, the cam position sensor is on the front of this engine, and the harness, it's set up for the rear of the engine underneath the intake manifold, as well as a map sensor, which this doesn't have. So yeah, I found a extension harness for that cam position sensor for like $10 on eBay, so went ahead and ordered that. Otherwise, I would have had to buy 3 different colors and 3 different lengths of wire and crimps and shrink and all that good stuff. So I think that was a pretty good deal. Now, I was reading up on that, and apparently the oil pressure sensor for the FC, for the 13B engine, is the same thread as the one that comes on this engine. So essentially you can thread it down in there and run the factory Mazda wire to it, and you'll have an accurate oil pressure gauge. So that's cool. And then there's a few little things of what to splice into to get the temp gauge working, the tachometer working, and of course I haven't messed with the fuel gauge, so that should all still be accurate. So that's good. So the only thing that's going to be different is going to be the speedometer, which is totally different, but that's okay. And of course, no emissions, no cruise control, no AC, no radio, none of that junk. But yeah, I thought I got a pretty good amount done. I wanted to dive into the wiring a little bit more, but I really wanted to get those bushings in because I knew they were going to suck. So now that monkey is off my back. So that's one thing I can cross off the list. Well, that and the shifter and the e-brake. I still got to, once I hook these rear control arms up, or yeah, control arms, then I'll, install the rear brakes and all that good stuff, and run the lines to the hydraulic handbrake, and yeah, and have that finished set up. So then I'll be ready to actually sit on the ground if I want it to. Still got to get a drive shaft. Haven't got a call back from the drive shaft shop or not the drive shaft shop, but the local driveline shop, Indiana Driveline. So hopefully I'll get in touch with them and give them my measurement, and they can make me a drive shaft for hopefully not too crazy expensive. Don't know if I want to go with steel or aluminum. For the weight savings, I would like aluminum, but if it's a huge price gap difference, then I'm probably just going to go with good old-fashioned American steel, and we'll see how that goes. But let's see, trying to think. Tomorrow I probably won't be able to work on it. Just we got a busy day and I have to work. So maybe Wednesday, Thursday, and maybe a little bit Friday. Probably, well, my brothers and my cousin are coming in for our son's birthday this weekend. So Friday I'll probably have to get straight home and get straight to bed, because I'm going to wake up at, you know, a decent time on Saturday and go pick them up from the hotel. So they're flying in Friday night late. And they're going to stay in Chicago. I doubt they would want me to pick them up at, you know, 3 in the morning in Chicago. So anyways, that's all I got for tonight. Let's see, plans for this week. Probably install the LRB door cards and B-pillar things. I guess I won't be needing that gauge cluster delete, so if anyone wants a brand new LRB gauge cluster delete panel, hit me up and you can pay what I pay. Hopefully if you're local, you won't have to worry about shipping. We can just meet. But anyways, you guys have a great night. I'll talk to you soon, and look for some pictures on Facebook. Bye.